I'm Jessica Das, and I'm a dietitian from Milwaukee Public Schools Department of Nutrition Services. I'm here today to cook with you. We received a grant from the United States Department of Agriculture called the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, and with that money we bought some beautiful produce for your families. This week we're learning how to eat better this Thanksgiving, and we have fresh cranberries, Yukon Gold potatoes, green beans, and Honeycrisp apples. And today we're going to focus on our fruits. I'm going to teach you how to make cranberry sauce and apple crisp. So let's get started. With our cranberry sauce, I have 1 cup of orange juice measured out. And what we're going to do is in a saucepan over our stovetop, we are going to turn on the heat and then dump our orange juice in. It's a nice vitamin C source. Then I have 1 cup of white sugar. And dump that in my pan, and I'm going to give it a little stir. What we're trying to do is dissolve the sugar into the orange juice to make the base of our sauce. Once this starts to dissolve, then we can add the cranberries for the real magic to happen. So cranberries. Our cranberries today are a local food. They're actually grown in Warrens, Wisconsin, which is about 2.5 hours away from Milwaukee. And what I didn't know is the cranberry is Wisconsin's state fruit. About 60% of the nation's cranberries come from our state, but only about 5% is sold fresh, usually around the Thanksgiving holiday. So with these cranberries, when you make your cranberry sauce, you can think about our local farmers and our local community. Our produce over here is going to go in the pot now because I'm hearing some sizzles. Let's dump it in. And as you can see, this is a very fast, very easy recipe your kids can definitely help out with. And these cranberries are going to add such nice color to your Thanksgiving plate. So let's give this a stir, turn down our heat a little bit to a simmer. And these are going to stay on the stovetop for about 10 minutes until they burst open. And when they burst open, your sauce is done. We just put it aside in a dish, and then we want to refrigerate. So this is a recipe I usually make 1 day in advance before my Thanksgiving meal, because when the cranberry sauce cools, it also thickens, and it's one less thing I have to do in the morning. So that looks really good. So something I learned about cranberries is that they are a perennial plant, which means they come back year after year, and they actually don't grow in water. They grow in vines that are low in marshes and bogs, and when it's harvest time, the farmers flood the marshes and bogs, and the cranberries float to the surface after they're agitated with a farm machine, and then the farmers go into the bogs and they use this vacuum and push the cranberries towards it, and it just sucks them up. So it's really cool and exciting to watch, and if you want to show your kids this process, there's lots of great videos on YouTube. So I'm already hearing popping, so that means our cranberry sauce is underway, and it's going to be delish and nice and sweet and tart and part of our holiday meal. So the next recipe I would like to show you is apple crisp. So we have our beautiful Honeycrisp apples here, and I'm just going to peel one and show you start to finish how to get this going. I like making fruit crisps a lot. They have a little extra nutritional value because you can have oatmeal and whole wheat flour in the crumble topping, and they have a lot of fruit in the base, so it's a dessert you can't feel too bad about eating. You also might be wondering, why is a dietitian showing you how to make a dessert? Well, I truly believe that all foods can be part of a healthy diet. But one thing that I think about when I'm choosing what food to eat every day is the food an everyday food or a sometimes food? And everyday foods are like our fruits and vegetables here, but sometimes foods have extra sugar and butter added to them. So that might be for a special celebration or occasion. So we have our peel off. This can go in your compost pile to the side, and then we're gonna just cut our apple here. I like to slice the sides off because I don't have a core, and then move around the core and also put the core in our compost. Now I am gonna dice it. You could also slice it, it depends how you want it to look, and put it in our pot with our other slices to the side. So we have 5 apples that we're going to be using for the base of our crisp, and we're going to be putting these in a 2-quart baking dish. So we're almost done with this, and our apples are going to provide a really nice source of soluble fiber, which is great for gut health. They're also loaded with vitamins and minerals. The next step in our apple crisp is the dumping. So all these recipes that were picked this week are really easy because my hope was that you can cook with your kids in the kitchen. I know this Thanksgiving is looking really different for a lot of us because we're trying to limit the amount of people in our homes due to COVID, but this is something that we can really look forward to doing. And I hope you really take a moment to give thanks for these moments with your kids in this time that we're slowing down, because memories can be made that last a lifetime. So next on our apples, we're gonna put in 3 tablespoons of sugar. And we're just gonna sprinkle that on there. And then with clean hands or gloved hands, you can just mix it up. Now, I don't know if it was my grandma who taught me how to cook or who it was, but I've always just liked getting right in there opposed to using a spoon. This is different when I'm cooking for other people than my family, but clean hands are definitely essential in the kitchen. You never want to start with anything other than that. So everything is great in our pot. So give our sauce one more stir on the stove now. More popping is happening over here, but they're not quite done yet. Next, we're gonna make our crumble topping. I'm gonna take a mixing bowl, and I have half a cup of rolled oats that I'm gonna dump in, half a cup of brown sugar, and when you're measuring your brown sugar, you wanna make sure to pack it in the cup. I'm using a 1/4 cup of flour. The recipe calls for all-purpose, but I like to put wheat flour in for a little extra fiber. Then we have a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. You could also use nutmeg or ginger. Whatever you have at home can add to a really nice flavor. I'm gonna give this a stir to incorporate. Now you're gonna notice when I'm cooking recipes, I have everything where I need it to be, and that's a French term called mise en place. So when you're cooking with kids, this also helps so it's a little less chaotic. Now I always get some lumps of brown sugar in my mixture, so I'm gonna use my hands to just break that up, and this should be nice and incorporated then with the flour and the oatmeal. Next, we're gonna put our butter in, and we have a 1/4 cup. I have salted butter today, but you can use unsalted as well. But sometimes that sweet salty combination is kind of yummy. All right, so let's unpeel our butter. And you want this at room temperature so it incorporates easier. And you can use a potato masher to get it going and then transfer over to clean hands or a fork, whatever you are comfortable with. I'm just gonna mash this all, and we're looking for that nice crumbly consistency. And you can also put this in a pie as well. Crumble top has been a favorite of mine for years. And when it comes out of the oven, I always enjoy serving it with a little vanilla ice cream. It's a really tasty treat. Ooh, I hear some sizzling over here. So here's my cranberries, and they are done and looking great. Now we're just gonna pour them in our serving dish. Okay, so that's just gonna cool and go in the refrigerator now. And I'm gonna continue to incorporate my butter with my oatmeal and flour. So this is almost done, and I know it's gonna be a hit this year. I also always love pumpkin pie, pecan pie, you name it. It's a great treat for the Thanksgiving meal. Okay, and this is also fun for kids when you can't get outside and play in the dirt or go to the beach, because it's just that tactile experience in cooking in the kitchen and getting your hands a little bit dirty. So this is perfect. Next, we're gonna dump it on top. And we're just gonna make sure that our apples are nice and covered. And you wanna have an oven that's been preheated to 375, and you're gonna put it in for about 35 to 40 minutes. And what you're looking for to tell if it's done is that your apples are soft and the top is lightly brown. So that's great, we're gonna set it to the side. Next, I want to show you our vegetables this week. We have these beautiful Yukon gold potatoes, and these are also a local ingredient. So local foods is really important to me, because when you purchase locally, it supports the local economy and community. And these are grown in Friesland, Wisconsin, which is about an hour and a half away from Milwaukee. So they haven't traveled far at all, which is why they are so beautiful. And when food is grown close to home, it tends to taste better too for that reason, because it's picked at a time where it's closest to its peak of ripeness. So enjoy these potatoes. When you're gonna mash them at home, you wanna peel them and cut them in half, put them in your lightly salted water, drain the water out, add a little milk and butter, salt and pepper to taste. And we have that recipe for you too. And this is another good recipe for your children. With our green beans too, some kids haven't cooked a vegetable before, and it's never too early to get them started in the kitchen. Just snap your ends off first and put them in that lightly salted water. Bring it to a boil that's covered, and you're just gonna test it with a fork to see if it's done. So 4 easy dishes for your holiday meal. This is excellent and great. And I know you're gonna have a great time. Even though COVID is going on, we can really make the best out of this together. And I can't wait to cook with you again next week, where we go into the month of December, continue the fresh fruit and vegetable program, and talk about the importance of good nutrition. Take care and happy Thanksgiving.